What's up, people? Welcome to our channel. Today we will be looking at the installation of P.O.P and its associated cost. But before that, for those who have inquired about the current state of the project, that is what you see on your screen. All right, let's get to business. So the installation of the P.O.P will first start with the making of the board. You will notice that they're using glass. Usually they would go for plywood, but I wanted them to use glass because the glass gives it a smoother finish, which they also agreed to. So we bought half sheet of glass for 220 cedis. This was as at December 2021. I'm sure now the price will be a little bit higher. We bought a 6 mm glass, which is quite thin, but it serves the purpose. And then we bought the wooden button, which you see used as the perimeter boundary. And by the way, for the half sheet of glass, we got either 2 or 3 of the glass sheet that you see on your screen. So what you see is a mixture of the P.O.P cement and just water. So they would pour that, and then you will soon see that they're going to add fiber, which would serve as reinforcement. For the P.O.P cement, as at December, it was going for between 60 and 64 cedis, Ghana cedis. That is per bag. I think the bag is about 40 kilos or so. I'm not too sure about that. So we bought a total of 49. Take note that all the cost and quantities mentioned will be for each unit of the apartment. So apart from the glass and the P.O.P cement I have mentioned, the other materials you would buy would be fiber, P.O.P paint, you would buy metal pipes, soap, bar soap, typically key soap, and then cooking oil. The quantities of each of these materials will be mentioned in the course of the video. So that's the fiber you see. For the fiber, as at December, once again, it was going for between 19 and 20 cedis. The reason why I'm giving you a range is depending on where we buy from, the price changes because we may have to buy from elsewhere because where we buy from might have run out of stock. So at some places we bought them for 19 cedis and other places we bought them for 20 cedis per kilo. We used a total of 45 kilos of the fiber. We had a little left, maybe about 3 kilos. So the fiber is being used as reinforcement. So just like you use iron rods for your slab, this is put in to make sure that there are no cracks and it holds it. It binds the P.O.P cement together. So with the first pour, they put that in the middle, and then they will mix another P.O.P cement and just water, and then pour that on, as you will see shortly. It took about 4 to 5 minutes for it to get dry, and then he will go ahead and remove that. The making of the plaster boards is pretty simple and straightforward. I believe anyone at all can do it, but it's the fixing that will require a little bit more skill. And this is the advantage of the glass. it helps you to not need the soap and then the oil. I bought 2 bottles of fried oil and a bar of key soap, and they ended up using it to cook and wash because the glass requires no lubricants to help with the removal. As you saw in the video, there was no application of soap or oil before the plasterboard was put on. The only time they used the soap and oil was for the corner molds, which they had to put on another POP, and that required just a little amount. And so that is how smooth it comes out. So once the boards are made, I bought 2 inches concrete nails for them. They will nail the concrete slab. If you don't have concrete slab, I'm sure they'll probably nail the wood that you use for your roofing or your ceiling joints. And then he ties binding wire on. The binding wire is what will hold the plasterboard in place. They're going to eventually put some of the mesh in the POP mixture, and then they will wrap it around the binding wire to hold the POP boards. The metal pipes that they're putting on is also to hold the boards. As you can see, it will eventually be removed. So I bought the metal pipe. One at that point was about 40 cedis, and I bought 2 of those, and then they cut it according to the length that they want. So those are the plaster boards that were made earlier. He will then check for straightness and adjust the binding wire accordingly. So they'll use a rope to check the level. At this point, they will keep adjusting the binding wire. It's the binding wire which is holding the metal frame. So as you can see, he is adjusting the binding wire to get it leveled. Let me just chip this in at this point. The POP design we went for was because we didn't want to lose the height of the ceiling. We did 11 courses just to have a high ceiling, so it will be pointless to do full POP to have the ceiling reduced, and that's the mistake many people make. They lay blocks to have high ceiling, and then the POP takes almost all the space that they added. If you plan to have full POP, factor that in when laying the blocks so that at least you wouldn't lose the height of your ceiling. So that is the rope they are using to check the level and straightness of the board. What you see him putting in are conduit pipes. These conduit pipes are pieces. This is where you have to bear in mind that in building construction, you shouldn't be in a hurry to dispose of pieces of materials. We're going to buy conduit pipes, but fortunately the electricians had gathered the pieces on the ground floor, so he just picked them and cut them. So those pieces are to make sure that the joints are straight and level. So that is what you see. Once they do this, they'll go ahead and make the POP cement and water mixture, and then they will use it to fill in those joints that you see. And this is how the inside looks like. So those are the binding wires covered in fiber soaked in POP, cement and water. So that is the joints being filled with the POP paste. So the materials you buy will be the fiber, the POP cement, and then POP paint, which you are seeing. The POP paint, we bought a total of 6.5 buckets, and that was mainly used for the concrete slab. You will notice that the sawdust, as I mentioned in previous videos, made it not too smooth. So they'll mix the POP cement, and then the paint and then use it on the wall. In fact, this is what is called the skimming, or Andre as some people call it, but they will use that for the concrete slab. So you will see that that transforms the concrete slab from that nasty looking one to a look that is more pleasing to the eyes. One bucket was 133 Ghana cedis as at December. And by one bucket, I mean one bucket of paint. I keep mentioning December, it's December 2021. So with that complete, they'll go ahead and fix the corner molds. This is pretty simple to make. They just have a flat metal plate cut according to the design, and then they just pour the P.O.P mixture and use that to shape the edges. Unfortunately, I couldn't capture a video of that being made. So this is the final look. And that is the bedroom. And this is the sitting room. And then the dining area. So we went ahead to put in the lights, the spotlights. I just bought a 5-watt one. As you can see, they are hanging yet to be fixed in the ceiling, the P.O.P ceiling. I had a 2-inch hole saw, so we used that, but usually they will use hacksaw to cut through, punch hole in the P.O.P ceiling and use hacksaw to make the appropriate hole. We went for 5 simple designs. This one for the kitchen and another 2 bedrooms, and then these for the washroom and the laundry. And then for the sitting room we had this, and then the utility area we had that, and this is for the master bedroom. So for the LED strip we have 2 types, the one that is controlled by infrared and then the Wi-Fi ones. We went for the Wi-Fi ones because we're going to use smart switches, so we needed to have one that will be compatible with the smart home device. But both infrared and Wi-Fi will come with its own remote, an RGB remote, so you can select any of the colors that you see. So that is the living room you see, and that is the master bedroom. We are yet to fit the one for the dining area. This is something that I should mention. Though we have the smart switches, we didn't install them because we haven't yet tiled the place. If you fix it now, the tilers are going to come and mess it up, so it's better you fix it as the last device when everything is done. For the spotlights, you could have 5 watts, 10 watts, and so on. We went with the 5 watts because those are smaller, and to me it looks fancy when you have it small in the ceiling. In terms of illumination, we would have one light in the middle, so even if the 5 watts isn't bright enough, the middle, that big light in the middle should work out fine. Alright, so on your screen now is the skimming of the walls. That is what the P.O.P guys called Andre. So they are not done yet. We captured this whilst they were working. Now let's talk about the workmanship. So for the P.O.P, we got quotations from 4,000 Ghana cedis for each unit, all the way down to 2,500. Obviously, we settled for the 2,500 because that was the cost-effective one, and it's the same job they were going to do anyway. So I'm giving you the range so that you would know how to negotiate. And for the skimming of the walls, or Andre, we got quotations for 1,000 Ghana cedis and 1,500 Ghana cedis for each unit. Again, we settled on the 1,000 Ghana cedis per unit because it's the same job, and we had our own design and knew exactly what we wanted them to do for us. That is it for this episode. We answer questions every Saturday and Sunday, so if you have any question, feel free to leave it in the comment section or drop us an email and we'll be glad to respond to your questions. Thank you for watching. Watch out for the next episode. See you in a bit. Enjoy, people.